The planet Vadran 4 was dying. Its storms raged without mercy, tearing apart the few shelters that remained. The air was thick with dust, and the sun barely shone through dark, swirling clouds. The small alien colony that lived here struggled to survive. Food was running out, water was scarce, and hope was slipping away with every passing hour. Relin, the alien leader, looked at the children huddled in one of the broken shelters. He had tried everything to save them. Other species had left them to die. Their own calls for help had gone unanswered. They had sent signals across the galaxy, hoping for someone, anyone, to come. And still, most ignored them. Relin's antennas twitched with frustration. Why does no one care? He muttered to himself. He watched a young alien girl, her eyes wide with fear, clutch a worn blanket. We cannot last much longer, he said quietly. On the other side of the galaxy, humans were listening. A faint distress call had reached the outskirts of human space. The message was simple, but desperate. Many species had heard it before, and decided it was not worth the risk. The planet was called a death world, and death worlds were known to destroy anyone who tried to land there. But humans did not ignore it. Ethan Cole, the captain of a small human rescue team, leaned over the control panel of his ship. He studied the data, the storm patterns, the unstable atmosphere. It's dangerous, he said, his voice calm but firm. Very dangerous. But we cannot leave them. Lauren Price, his pilot, frowned as she looked at the readings. Captain, this planet is called a death world for a reason. We could lose the ship. We could lose everyone. Ethan shook his head. We could, but what kind of people would we be if we just ignored them? We are humans. We do not turn away when someone needs help. Not ever. Jason Hill, the team medic, looked nervous. I know. But this is worse than any emergency I have seen. The storms, the toxic air, collapsing shelters. It is extreme. Olivia Brooks, the engineer, was quiet. She tapped her fingers on the table as she studied the ship's systems. We can make it work, she said finally. Our shields are strong, our engines are good. We can land, but it will be difficult. Very difficult. Daniel Carter, the scout, stood near the doorway. He was younger than the others, full of energy and courage. I want to go, he said. I don't care how dangerous it is. I want to help them. They are counting on someone. Why not us? Ethan smiled slightly. Exactly, Daniel. That is why we go. The galaxy may see this planet as a death trap. Other species may call it hopeless. But we are humans. We do not give up on those in need. The team prepared for the journey. They checked their suits, packed emergency supplies, and ran simulations of landing in extreme storms. Every calculation showed danger, but they did not falter. The aliens needed them, and that was enough. As the ship approached the edge of Vadran 4, the storms became visible even from space. Lightning streaked across the dark clouds. Winds ripped at the atmosphere. The planet looked alive, dangerous, and unpredictable. Lauren tightened her grip on the controls. This is going to be rough, she said. I hope everyone is ready. Ethan nodded. We do what we must. Remember, our mission is to save lives. That is the priority. Nothing else matters. Below, Relin and his people watched the sky. They had seen ships before, but no one had stayed. They had hoped for help so many times, only to be disappointed. Now, a ship entered orbit. It was human. Relin's eyes widened. He could not believe it. Could they be? He whispered. The ship fought against the planet's winds, shuddering under the strain. Sparks flew across its hull. Every moment was a test of skill and courage. Lauren maneuvered with precision, dodging sharp bursts of lightning. Ethan gave calm commands, coordinating the crew as they prepared for landing. Inside the ship, tension was high. Jason checked his medical kits repeatedly. Olivia monitored the engines, making sure they could survive the landing. Daniel ran simulations in his head, planning the fastest path to the alien camp. Every member of the team felt the danger, but none of them hesitated. Finally, the ship touched down in a jagged valley. Rocks and mud flew in all directions as the engines fought the planet's pull. The crew exhaled, relief mixing with adrenaline. They had made it. They were on the ground. "Looks like we did it," Daniel said, his voice shaky but proud. Ethan looked at the swirling storm outside. "This is only the beginning," he said. "The real challenge starts now." The crew exited the ship carefully. The wind slammed against their suits, and the air was hard to breathe. Sparks of electricity danced across the ground, but they moved forward, carrying supplies and equipment to set up a temporary shelter. In the distance, they saw the alien camp. It was barely standing. Shelters were broken. Supplies were scattered. And the people looked weak and frightened. Children clung to their parents. The elders looked lost. This was worse than any simulation. Relin stepped forward, his antennas trembling. He could not believe humans had come. "You came," he said softly. I did not think anyone would come." Ethan nodded. "We came. We are here to help. We are not leaving until everyone is safe." Lauren helped guide the aliens toward the temporary shelter. Daniel carried supplies. Jason checked the injured, giving what treatment he could under the harsh conditions. Olivia began setting up portable shields to protect the camp from the storm. The aliens watched in amazement. They had expected help to be impossible. Other species had called the planet too dangerous. Humans were not supposed to take such risks. And yet, here they were. Children clung to Daniel, curious and shy. He smiled at them, offering small gifts of food and water. One little girl laughed for the first time in days. That small sound was enough to lift the spirits of everyone, even in the midst of the storm. Ethan surveyed the area. The storm was relentless, but they had found a way to hold the camp together. "We will need to work fast," he said. "The longer we stay, the harder it gets. We must protect these people." Over the next hours, the human crew worked tirelessly. They repaired shelters, set up medical stations, and distributed food. Jason treated cuts and fevers. Olivia reinforced shields and repaired equipment damaged by the storm. Daniel scouted the surrounding area for safer paths and resources. Lauren kept the ship ready for a quick escape if necessary. Relin and his people could only watch. They had been abandoned, left to face death alone. Yet these humans risked everything, not for reward, not for recognition, but simply because it was the right thing to do. By nightfall, the temporary shelter was functional. It was not perfect, but it offered protection from the worst of the storm. The humans stood together, exhausted but determined. The aliens gathered around them, offering thanks in their strange, melodic voices. Ethan looked at the stars beyond the storm. "This is only the first step," he said. "The planet is dangerous. The storms will not stop, but we will stay. We will not leave them behind. That is what it means to be human." Relin stepped closer. "Your people. You risk everything for us. I cannot understand it, but I am grateful. We will not forget this. You are different from the rest of the galaxy." Ethan smiled slightly. "We do not see ourselves as different. We just see what is right. Sometimes, that is enough to make a difference." As the night fell, the storm continued to rage. But inside the temporary shelter, there was warmth. Children slept. Parents rested. And for the first time in days, hope returned. The humans had arrived, and with them, a chance to survive. Outside, the wind howled and lightning flashed. The planet seemed determined to destroy them. But Ethan and his crew were determined as well. They would not leave. They would not fail. Every species may have left these aliens to die, but the humans were here, and they would fight for their lives. And so, under the dark and violent sky of Vadran 4, a small team of human rescue workers began their work. They did not know what dangers awaited them, but they knew one thing for certain. The aliens would not die on their watch. Not if they could help it. Ethan looked at his team. Get some rest. Tomorrow will be harder. But we can do this. We will save them all. Lauren nodded. We came here for a reason. We are not leaving without them. Jason adjusted his medical pack. I will not let anyone suffer while I am here. Olivia checked her tools. We will hold the shelters. The storm cannot win. Daniel smiled at a small alien child. We are here. You are safe. We will make sure of it. And for the first time in many long days, the aliens believed it. They had been abandoned before. They had been left to die. But now, humans had come, willing to risk everything for their survival. The storm continued to rage, the night was long, and the planet was merciless. But on Vadran 4, hope had returned, carried on the shoulders of humans who refused to turn away. The morning on Vadran 4 was as brutal as the night had been. Lightning streaked across the sky, and the wind tore at the temporary shelters. The ground was slick with mud, and pools of boiling water bubbled dangerously near the camp. Every step was a test, and every breath carried the taste of dust and storm. Ethan Cole stepped out of the human ship, his boots sinking into the wet soil. He adjusted his helmet and scanned the area. We need to move fast, he said. The storm is getting worse, and the shelters cannot hold much longer. Lauren Price checked the engines of the ship while keeping an eye on the sky. The winds are stronger than we thought, she said. Landing here was only the first step. Surviving the next few days will be much harder. Jason Hill moved through the alien camp, tending to the sick and injured. The aliens were frightened, but they began to trust the humans. Jason's calm voice and careful treatment reassured them. One elderly alien, his legs weak and broken in a storm collapse, looked at Jason with wide eyes. You stay, he said slowly. You do not leave us? Jason shook his head. We are not leaving, he said. Not until everyone is safe. Olivia Brooks worked with the portable shields, strengthening the shelters against the storm. Sparks flew from her tools as she connected energy lines, and the wind threatened to rip them out. Sweat ran down her face, but she ignored it. Failure was not an option. Daniel Carter was scouting nearby, checking the land for safe paths. He moved quickly, avoiding pools of acid-like water and sudden mudslides. He returned with news. The path to the northern caves is blocked, he said. Rocks fell during the night. The children's shelter is exposed. We need to protect it immediately. Ethan nodded. Then that is our next move. Jason, help me carry the injured. Daniel, guide the others. Olivia, Lauren, keep the ship ready. We may need it sooner than expected. The humans and aliens moved quickly. Ethan carried 2 injured aliens himself, struggling under their weight. The wind pushed against him, threatening to knock him off balance. But he did not stop. Every step mattered. Every life mattered. Daniel led a small group of aliens, holding their hands and guiding them through the mud and debris. The children screamed when lightning flashed nearby, but he held them close. It's okay, he said. We are here. You are safe. Lauren stayed near the ship, monitoring the energy levels. The storm drained power faster than expected. Ethan, she called through her comms. We may not have enough energy for a full evacuation if this continues. You need to plan carefully. Ethan understood immediately. We will take what we can carry, he said. Better to save some than risk losing all. But we will stay as long as we have to. The group reached the northern shelters, but the scene was worse than Daniel had described. The mud had risen to waist height, and some of the structures were collapsing. Children clung to their parents, screaming, while adults tried desperately to hold the shelters together. Ethan dropped the injured aliens gently and turned to the humans. We will form a protective line, he said. Shields and barricades here, here, and here. Jason, help the injured. Olivia, reinforce the structures. Daniel, guide the families. The humans worked tirelessly. Jason treated burns, broken limbs, and dehydration. Olivia tied energy lines to support collapsing walls. Daniel carried children across dangerous patches of mud. Lauren adjusted the ship's shields to cover the shelters from the worst of the storm. Meanwhile, Relin watched with amazement. These humans were risking everything. Moving through dangerous storms, carrying injured aliens, and repairing shelters that should have collapsed. Other species had refused to help, calling the planet too dangerous. But these humans were not afraid. The storm raged on. Lightning struck dangerously close, and a tremor shook the ground. One of the shelters began to crack. Ethan jumped into action, carrying heavy beams to reinforce the wall. His clothes were soaked, mud smeared across his face, but he did not stop. "Captain, the shelters will not hold for long," Lauren warned. "We may need to move everyone to the ship for safety." Ethan shook his head. "Not yet," he said. "We can hold it a little longer. We cannot abandon the camp now. The aliens will be crushed if we leave them here." Hours passed. The humans worked without rest, fighting the storm with tools, energy shields, and sheer determination. The aliens followed their instructions, carrying supplies, guiding children, and helping where they could. Slowly, the temporary shelters began to hold. The worst of the mudslides were diverted. Injured aliens were stabilized, but the planet was not done. A massive quake shook the valley. Rocks fell from the cliffs, and a river of boiling mud rushed toward the shelters. Ethan shouted orders, and the humans formed a line to push the aliens to higher ground. Daniel carried children in his arms, leaping over dangerous gaps. Jason dragged injured aliens along safer paths. Olivia kept the barriers from collapsing. Lauren adjusted the ship's shields to block falling debris. Relin could not believe what he was seeing. "How can they survive this?" he asked quietly. "No one else would risk their lives like this. They are humans," one of the alien workers said. "They do not turn away. That is who they are." Ethan reached the highest point of the valley with the last group of aliens. He looked back at the shelters below. The quake had damaged them, but they had held. The humans had saved the lives of dozens of aliens, and the children were safe. For a moment, hope returned to Vadran 4, but the storm continued to rage. The energy in the ship was draining fast. Lauren's voice came over the comms, tense. "Captain, the engines are low. If the storm worsens, we may not have enough power to lift off with everyone. We have to plan carefully." Ethan considered the options. The planet would not wait. The storm could destroy everything at any moment. "We stay until the last alien is safe," he said firmly. "Even if it means we risk everything, we cannot leave anyone behind." The aliens began to help more actively. They moved supplies, guided children, and cleared debris. Even those who were weak or injured contributed in small ways. They had seen the humans' courage, and it inspired them. Night fell again, and the storm did not stop. Lightning flashed, illuminating the battered valley. Mudslides rumbled, and the wind screamed like a living creature. The humans did not rest. Ethan moved through the camp, checking every shelter, every injured alien, and every child. He encouraged the aliens to keep moving, to stay calm, to trust them. Jason worked beside him, tying splints and giving water to those who could barely move. "We will make it," he said softly. "We have to make it." Olivia reinforced shields again and again, repairing damage as it occurred. Sparks flew from broken lines, but she refused to stop. "We cannot fail," she said. "We cannot let them die." Daniel carried another child across a dangerous patch. The girl screamed, but he held her tight. "I am here," he said. "You are safe. We will not leave you." Lauren stayed near the ship, monitoring the storm and energy levels. She adjusted shields, recalculated flight paths, and prepared for the moment they would need to lift off. Every second counted. The aliens watched and slowly began to believe that survival was possible. The humans had risked everything, fighting the planet itself, to save them. No one else in the galaxy had done that. No one else had come. Ethan gathered the team for a brief moment. "We hold the shelters until the storm passes," he said. "We carry the injured. We protect the children. We are not leaving anyone behind. That is our mission. That is why we are here." The humans nodded, exhausted but determined. They returned to their tasks, working side by side with the aliens. The storm continued through the night, and every hour was a battle. But slowly, the shelters held. Injuries were treated. Children were safe. The valley had not been destroyed. By dawn, the storm had weakened slightly, but the planet was still dangerous. Ethan surveyed the camp. They had survived another night, but they were not safe yet. The northern shelters had held, but the quake had left cracks in the walls. The mudslides had shifted the land, and more work was needed. Relin approached Ethan, his voice trembling. You risked everything. You stayed with us when all others left. I do not understand why you do this, but I am grateful. You are humans. You are not like anyone else. Ethan shook his head. We do not do this for thanks, he said. We do it because it is right. No one should be left to die if we can help. That is what matters. Lauren joined them, wiping sweat from her face. The storm is not over, but we have held. We can continue the work. We can protect the aliens until we find a way to evacuate them. Jason and Olivia joined, nodding. Daniel carried another child into the camp. The humans and aliens worked together, side by side, against a planet that seemed determined to destroy them. Hope had returned to Vadran 4. The aliens had survived another day, and it was because humans refused to turn away. Other species had left them to die. But humans had come and fought the planet itself to save lives. Ethan looked at his team, tired but proud. We are not finished, he said. The planet is harsh, but we will endure. We will save them all. And so, on Vadran 4, the humans and the aliens began the long struggle for survival. The planet raged around them, but their courage and determination shone brighter. The storm had not defeated them, and the humans had proven that even in the deadliest places, life could be protected by those willing to risk everything. The storm on Vadran 4 had not stopped. Lightning struck the jagged cliffs, and the wind screamed through the valley like an angry beast. Mud and boiling water flowed through the lower areas, and the air was thick with dust. The planet seemed determined to destroy everything in its path. Ethan Cole stood at the edge of the temporary shelter, looking at the aliens huddled together. Children held onto their parents, and the elders leaned on each other for support. Every person there had survived the night, thanks to the humans, but the danger was far from over. Lauren Price checked the ship's systems again. Captain, she said, her voice tense. We have enough energy for liftoff, but only if we take the essential passengers. Any extra weight could prevent us from escaping the next storm burst. Ethan nodded. He understood immediately. Every second counted. We take the injured and the children first, he said. Then we bring the adults. We will not leave anyone behind if we can help it. Jason Hill prepared the medical stations near the ship. He arranged stretchers and oxygen supplies for the injured. Some of the aliens were weak from fever or injuries caused by falling debris. Jason moved quickly, knowing that any delay could be fatal. Olivia Brooks worked on the ship's power core, reinforcing energy lines and making sure the shields could hold. Sparks flew from her tools as she connected unstable circuits. The storm tried to stop them, but she ignored it. Failure was not an option. Daniel Carter moved through the alien group, helping them toward the ship. Children cried and shouted. Scared by the lightning, Daniel held their hands firmly. It's okay, he said. We are here. We will take care of you. Relin watched in amazement. He had never seen a species risk so much for others. The humans moved with courage and determination, never hesitating, never fearing the planet's fury. They are not like anyone else, he whispered to one of his advisors. They are remarkable. Ethan moved among the aliens, checking each one. He carried a small alien child on his back, jumping over a boiling mud stream. Sweat and mud coated his face. But he did not stop. Every life mattered. Lauren's voice came over the comms again. "Captain, the next storm burst is coming fast. We need to start boarding now." Ethan nodded. "Everyone to the ship. Move quickly but carefully. We will get them all out." The humans and aliens began the boarding process. Jason helped the injured onto stretchers, while Daniel guided children and elders. Ethan lifted anyone who could not walk. Olivia kept the shields steady, and Lauren adjusted the ship's position to allow for a safe approach. The storm raged harder. Lightning struck near the valley, and mudslides threatened to block the paths. Ethan shouted instructions, directing the humans and aliens through the chaos. "Keep moving! Do not stop! We are almost there!" Relin followed, carrying supplies and helping the slowest among his people. He looked at Ethan and felt a deep sense of gratitude. "How can they be like this?" he asked. "How can they risk everything for us?" Ethan heard him and smiled slightly. "We do not think about the risk," he said. "We think about what is right. That is all." The first group of injured aliens reached the ship. Jason and Olivia helped them inside, securing stretchers and monitoring vital signs. Daniel followed with children, keeping them calm. Their small hands clutched his arms tightly, trusting him completely. Ethan lifted a frail elder alien into the ship. The old alien looked at him with wide eyes. You stay?" he asked. Ethan shook his head. "We will not leave anyone behind," he said. "We get everyone out. That is the promise." Lauren adjusted the engines, preparing for takeoff. Sparks flew as the storm surged closer. "We have only a small window," she said. "If we delay, we may not escape." Ethan looked at the remaining aliens still waiting. Some were injured, others were strong but scared. He made a quick decision. "Daniel, take the children and the injured. Jason, Olivia, secure the ship. I will bring the rest. Move fast." Daniel nodded, carrying a child in one arm and holding the hands of two others. Jason helped him onto the ship, and Olivia sealed the doors. Lauren began the countdown. Ethan ran through the mud toward the remaining adults. Rocks fell around him. Mud surged at his boots. But he did not stop. One by one, he guided the aliens to the ship. Some stumbled and fell, but he lifted them without hesitation. The storm reached its peak. Lightning struck dangerously close, sending a shockwave through the valley. Ethan felt the ground shake under his feet. He shouted to the last group of aliens, urging them to move faster. Finally, everyone was on board. Ethan was the last to enter. Lauren locked the doors and engaged the engines. The ship shuddered under the storm's force. Sparks flew from the shields as they absorbed lightning strikes. "Hold on," Lauren shouted as she pushed the engines to maximum. The ship lifted off the ground, fighting against the wind, mud, and gravity. It rose into the sky, bouncing with every gust of storm. The aliens watched in awe from the ship's windows. The humans had risked everything for them. Every injury, every struggle, every moment of fear had been met with courage and determination. They had survived because humans refused to turn away. Ethan breathed heavily but smiled. "We made it," he said quietly. "We got everyone out." Lauren nodded, keeping the ship steady. "The storm is still dangerous, but we are leaving the worst behind." Jason checked on the injured. "They are stable for now," he said. "We can manage until we reach safe space." Quote, Olivia monitored the energy levels. "We pushed the engines too hard, but we can hold it until we are out of the storm." Daniel sat with the children, comforting them. "It's okay," he said. "You are safe now. Nothing will hurt you." Relin approached Ethan. "Your people, they are incredible," he said. "No one else would have done this. You risked your lives for us." Ethan shook his head. "We do not do it for thanks," he said. "We do it because it is right. You would do the same for us." All life matters. The ship finally cleared the storm. Vadrine 4 shrank beneath them, dark and violent. The aliens stared at it in silence, realizing how close they had come to death. Lauren exhaled. "We are clear," she said. "We made it." Ethan looked at his team. "This is what it means to be human," he said. "We face danger because it is right. We protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is our way." The aliens began to speak among themselves. They had seen humans in action, risking everything for strangers. They had learned a lesson in courage, selflessness, and determination. "They are not just survivors," one alien said. "They are protectors. They are our friends." Relin nodded. "We will not forget this," he said. "You saved our people when no one else would. You are not like the rest of the galaxy. You are remarkable." The ship traveled through space toward a safe system. The humans had done the impossible. They had rescued a stranded colony from a death world, surviving impossible storms, treacherous terrain, and the fury of the planet itself. They had risked everything and succeeded. Ethan watched the aliens settle, children sleeping, elders recovering, parents relieved. "We did what we had to do," he said. "We saved lives. That is all that matters." Jason, exhausted but satisfied, added, "They will survive now. They owe their lives to us, and we did not lose anyone." Olivia smiled. "We worked together, humans and aliens. We made a difference." Daniel looked at the young children sleeping peacefully. "It is worth it," he said. "Every step, every risk. It is worth it." Lauren adjusted the navigation. "The galaxy may have doubts about humans. They may call us reckless. But today, we proved that we are capable of great courage. That matters more than anything else." The aliens slowly realized the truth. Other species had left them to die. Humans had risked everything. They had saved lives when everyone else had turned away. This was a moment that would be remembered, a story that would be told for generations. Relin approached Ethan again. "Your people, they are different," he said. "The galaxy will learn that humans are not just tough. You are brave, selfless, and honorable. You are worth respecting." Ethan nodded. "We do not seek respect. We seek to do what is right. That is enough." The ship traveled through the quiet of space. The storm of Vadrine 4 was behind them. But the lesson remained. Humanity had proven itself once more. Against impossible odds, against danger no one else dared to face, humans had acted with courage, wisdom, and heart. And for the aliens, the memory would last forever. They had been abandoned, left to die. And yet they had been saved by humans. The galaxy may have turned away, but humans had stayed. Humans had risked everything. Humans had won. Ethan looked at his team one last time. "We did it," he said softly. "We saved them. That is all that matters." Lauren, Jason, Olivia, and Daniel smiled, tired but proud. They had faced the storm, the planet, and the impossible. And they had succeeded. Humanity had once again shown that no matter how dangerous the challenge, humans would fight for life, hope, and what was right. The rescued aliens began to speak to one another, sharing the story of the humans who came to save them. Relin smiled, knowing that their species had been given a second chance, a chance that would not have come if not for the courage of a small group of human rescue workers. Ethan stood at the window, looking at the stars. "This is why we do it," he said quietly. "Because life matters. Because hope matters. Because helping others is what makes us human." The ship flew onward, carrying humans and aliens away from the death world. Behind them, Vadrine 4 raged. But it could not destroy the courage and hope that humans had brought. In the galaxy, the story of the humans who risked everything would be told for a long time. And somewhere in the hearts of every rescued alien, a single truth remained. Humans would never leave them behind, even when everyone else did. Humans were not just survivors of death worlds, they were heroes.